up, YouTube fam? Another episode on what are we working on in the garage today. So, got an f-250, 95 I think. I don't know, 94, 95, 96, power stroke truck. It's got a bad wheel bearing on the passenger side, is what we're going to replace today. So let me show you what we're going to do. So obviously you got to take the center cap off, which has these little things here. We just pop it off. And then we're going to take these lug nuts off here, pull the wheel off. Then we'll take the center cap off. Of course, I take the brake caliper and everything off, but we'll get to that. So let's take this wheel off and we'll go from there. Ta-da, YouTube magic, we got the wheel off. Put me a light up here. So in my hand here, I got zip ties. And what I'm gonna do is when I take this off, I'm gonna zip tie it either to there or the coil spring or something. Just hold it up so it don't put tension on the brake line. Today, I'll probably do it right here just because it'll hook good on here. But on this thing, so if you were just doing brakes, you would just want to take these out. Make sure you always clean those because that's slides. But today we got to take off this whole bracket because we got to take this off. So you want to take off this bolt here and there's one on the bottom. These today, I think they're 21s on this one. I just actually took all this stuff off of another truck last night. Yeah, these are 20, I'm using a 21 on them. So took the wheel off, 21, take these off, zip tie this up here out of the way so you have access to this, and then we'll take this off. So let me get these bolts off. I'll show you how I zip tie, or I'll show you after it's done, obviously, but I'll show you how I zip tie it up, and then I'll show you what we got to do to take this whole assembly off. And so we're doing wheel bearings in this thing. So anyway, let's get to it. When you do stuff for people too, always make sure like those brake pads are okay, but they're getting kind of thin, as you can see. So I'm gonna let him know about his brakes and see if he wants to go ahead and put brakes on it, because I mean, they look a little rough. But this isn't something he drives much, so he probably won't put brakes on it. But I just want to let him know what's going on with it. But always just check, let your customer know what's going on. And you know, hey, you know, you might want to put some brakes on this thing. Let me know if you want to while I got this side off, and then I can do the other side with brakes. And if he decides to, I'll show you how I do it without taking this whole piece off. Obviously today, you can see I just set this up here. I might put a zip tie around that just to hold it in place right there. So, but yeah, so let's get this off. All right, y'all, so I want to explain it to you. So that sits on there, right? So you got to take the cotter pin out that runs through there. Take the cotter pin out, you slide that off, and then you take the nut off, which, what I do with it? Anyway, you take the nut off, there it is. So you take this nut off, and you take the washer off, and then you got your smaller bearing on the outside. After you take that bearing off, which it will, it'll just slide off this shaft. This is pressed in here. It's the outer, or the seal, that's the wheel bearing seal. Goes in there, so you have to tap it out, and then you can pull this bearing out. Now, me, y'all know, but they have what they call a race in here. Grease. And it's a little, it's the other side of the bearing, right? See, you can see that little lip right there, and that's the bearing, or the race. So you actually have to go in from this back side and see the lip down in there. Let me get a screwdriver, I'll show you. So you see that lip right there on the end of the screwdriver, right there? And you gotta tap that out all the way around and get that race out of that side, and then you gotta get the race out of this side. Then you have to get them pressed back in. But we're gonna tap these races out. I'll show you what they look like whenever we get them out, and then go from there. Oh, and he is gonna do brakes. So we're gonna do this side just like this. The other side, I'll show you how to do it without taking this whole bracket off. So, all right, y'all, so we got it off. We got the bearings out here. So outer, inner, race. I'm not gonna touch it because I don't have my gloves on now, but which don't matter. We're gonna put these in the parts washer and take them with us. A lot of times on bearings, I know they usually, like 90% of the time, they're gonna get it right, but I like to take my bearings and race with me just so I have them so I can compare them, you know, unless I got somebody that's coming that wants me to do it while they're there or whatever. But I like to take my stuff with me just to match it up. just the way I've always been. So we're gonna clean these bearings up and races up, and we're gonna take them with us. The seal I'll probably take with me too. Just clean it all up, take it all with me. So let's go get some parts. So after an hour at the parts store, we got everything. We got his bearings, his races, his seal, set of brake pads for it, all the good stuff. So let me show you. So we knocked this race in and we tapped it in. I use a brass hammer. It gives a little bit. Tap it in and around, and then I use the other race to set on top and tap it down in there. And what we gotta do is we gotta take these bearings and we gotta get our hands a little messy with the grease. So make sure I got good wheel bearing grease, and we're gonna start packing these bearings. So let's get to work. All right, so we got our bearings in, we got our nut on. We're setting the torque wrench now. We're looking up to make sure what the torque specs are for 100%, but these are all different, so always make sure you find out what they're supposed to be torqued at. Some of them, you tighten them, turn the hook, tighten them, loose, top deal, to get that in there seated good. And then make sure it's turning good. Make sure you pack your bearings good. If you need a bearing packer, you could get one. If you can do it by hand and do it good, do it that way. That's what I did. I did it by hand. And then I always, between the two bearings, I always put grease in there too, just to keep it plenty of grease in there for it. So anyway, let's get this torqued down, and then we'll put the pads on. We bought some pads to put on, and then we'll get it done. What are you doing?
Helping you out.
Change the front brake on this thing. That way y'all can see the brakes that we do on here and how to do it. All right, we're going to show Chris how to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this bolt out. You see it? Mm-hmm. And then there's one on the bottom. I can't get my hand in there. Which is that bolt right there. See how it's got the rubber piece on it? That's what we want to take out. And that way the caliper will come out. So we're going to take this bolt off and that bottom bolt off. So let's do that. Loosen the bottom one first. And then we'll take the top one out, okay? So let's take that out. Look at these spider webs. Anyway, we're gonna take these off and I'll show you how to do these brakes. All right, so we got that off. And then here's your pads right here. Oh, I'm trying to lean on this. All right, Chris, take them out. All right, look, take these. Pull them that way. One goes each way. Stop, watch out, watch your hand. Yeah. It was time. There you go. All right, and then the other ones just go in the same way. Of course, that'll be on the other side. But I'm going to also change these clips. These little clips right here. We're going to pop these clips off, and we're going to put new ones on it. So let me get those off and get the new ones on. All right, to compress the brake pads, or brake master cylinder, do that. And get your C-clamp, Chris. It's over here, I got you. And then you're gonna run your C-clamp like this and run it into the back side there and tighten it up. Christopher, stop. Look, that thing slides. See that? Not like that, we can move it right here. Okay. I'm gonna tighten it. I'll press this brake master cylinder in, or caliper, sorry. All right, I'm gonna help him and we'll get this done and I'll show you. All right, well, we're at O'Reilly's. So I bought a part yesterday for a truck I worked on that I don't need. I ended up not needing it. We got it fixed with not needing it. It was a caliper bracket. All we needed was the pins. So I bought the bracket, pins, everything. The only thing I needed was the pins. So we're here today because the truck that we're currently working on, the f-250 that y'all see in the video, needs a caliper, obviously. The caliper was stuck. So I messaged the guy. He got back to me, but we went to Shadyside last night, so we didn't have time to come pick it up. So we're here at O'Reilly's. We're gonna pick up this caliper. We're gonna get home and we're gonna put this thing on and get this f-250 finished. Okay, y'all, so O'Reilly's didn't have it at the store I was at. They had it in Hickory. They could have had it here by 9. I came to Morganton today. But I was like, well, I mean, I could drive to Hickory and get it as fast as they could get it here, and Hickory's about the same distance anyway. I was like, well, let me check around. Went to Napa. It's right next, pretty close to it. They didn't have it. Every other store had it. They didn't. They sold it yesterday. So I was like, let me check around, see if somebody else had, AutoZone had one locally. So we got the part. We have succeeded in getting our part today. So let's get back to the house, get this stuff on, and get this truck out of the garage, and then I will announce at the end of this video what our next project is. So stay with us till we get done. Yeah, look at this. I'm home. I need to fill my bird feeders up. Look, red-headed woodpecker out there on that feeder. I need to fill my feeder up, fill my squirrel feeders up, but he's just out there chilling. All right, let's get to work. All right, y'all, we got it on here. So I had to take these two bolts out. This bolt went on the bottom to get this brace off because this caliper came with everything. And of course, they come with new hardware everywhere. These are Allen bolts now instead of the hex head style bolts. But this come with the new crush washers, new thing there. Just don't, whenever you do a brake job for somebody, don't forget to bleed them, because this caliper has no fluid in it, or it's going to have air in it from where if for some reason they did put fluid in it, which they didn't, it's going to have air in it anyway because of taking this brake line off. I always buy this caliper and stuff and pay the core charge. That way I don't have to unhook this brake line, because if you can leave this brake line hooked up until you get ready to change it, you don't lose nowhere near as much fluid. So that way you don't have to worry about bleeding as much. You don't have to worry about trying to keep it full up there. They do make tools, I think, to take this and actually clamp it or whatever so it don't leak any fluid. There's ways to do it. Me, I just pay the core and then I'll take that back and I'll get my core money back for it. So let's start bleeding these brakes and then we'll get this together. Sorry Chris ain't here. I know y'all like seeing Chris work, but he had something more important today to do with my neighbor. And my neighbor and her husband took him to do good things today. And so we let him go do that. We're gonna finish this brake job and then we got the other project. So stay with us. All right, so one thing I did is I'll take this loose and I'll just let it gravity bleed till it fills up. And then whenever I see it start coming out and dripping, I'll tighten it up. Whenever somebody gets up here, like Dad will come up here shortly and we'll bleed this out, make sure we got all the air out of it. After we bleed this, we'll put the wheel back on, we'll be done. Well, what's up? Look, it's out here. So we got everything put back together, took the truck out, and I'm just gonna walk here beside it just because that's where we're at. But everything's good, brakes is on, wheels are torqued, wheel bearings in, calipers on, everything checked out, bled the brakes, so good to go. Always, one thing, if you use a C-clamp, push the caliper or the pistons back in the caliper, right? So anytime you do that, obviously before you let a customer drive it, make sure the brakes pump up, because sometimes I did one on a guy's truck, good buddy of mine, and we done a back brake. Well, he got in and he's like, the brake pedal feels mushy. I was like, it's fine. So I just smashed it a few times. The caliper's got to close up on it and it'll be good. And sure enough, that's what it was. So always bleed the brakes, make sure everything pumps up the way it's supposed to be. Just do it right, y'all. So anyway, that truck's done. On to the next project. You're gonna have to come to the next video to see what it is. So see y'all next time.